Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome to Sex, Lies, and Consciousness with your luscious hostess, May Vu, broadcasting live every Monday at 12 noon Pacific Time.
Woohoo, everyone. This is May, and today I'm actually faking you guys out. I'm actually broadcasting at 8 p.m. on Tuesday night, March 5th, because our guest couldn't make the 12 o'clock noon time. So we are on right now, and I'm also testing out this time of the day to see how the listeners work out. So it'd be a new experiment for me. Well, it's been a really, really busy week at Sex, Lies, and Consciousness Central. I have been working on so many projects to roll out in the near future. I just can't begin to tell you. So we're continuing to build our Naked Room, a place where you can come on, and it's a private membership site where you can come on and really have heart-to-heart talk about what is going on with your life, what's going on with your sexually awakening self, and for women who really needs this privacy so that they can really, put their hair down and disrobe and share and get good conversation and questions and answers asked. So we're building that. I'm also doing a bunch of videos. I'm creating a product that's really fun and exciting. One of my most popular shows is the female ejaculation. And the show that I had, I said it's part 1, and I talked about what my experience was like working with Ben and Jen Rode to teach me about ejaculations and really release, and it turned into like a humongous therapeutic, energetic healing session that healed a bunch of stuff that I didn't know I had inside me. So one of the requests that I've been getting a lot is, so great, I get these healing sessions, and how do I do it at home for myself, and how do I do it for my woman? A lot of men come to my sites looking particularly for that piece of knowledge, and so that's what I'm creating. I'm actually doing a live video of myself teaching myself how to do my own ejaculations, and also my partner teaching him how to do it for me. Fun stuff. So that's in the work, and it should be ready in a couple of weeks. So I can't wait to get that out. Anyway, today I have with me two lovely and courageous gentlemen to talk about porn with me. And I have to tell you, my heart just palpitates when I think about this show and I think about what we're going to talk about. This topic is so polarizing between men and women. And I'm actually really scared of sounding like I'm out of touch with the woman, especially the woman's pain around porn and around having their partners watch porn more than they like, or even discover that their partners watch porn. And I want to just say that, my relationship with porn has gone from, being very rigid. I remember the first time I watched porn with my ex-husband in a hotel room, of course, because that's where most people watch porn, in a hotel room at a friend's wedding. And I was so tense, and I was offended, and I was feeling awkward, and I was totally insecure while I was watching, the action on the screen, and I was just constantly mouthing off, that's not real, that's fake. That was just such a funny buddy to be with, I'm sure. And yet, as much as my body resisted it, my pussy was really wet, and was really excited and turned on. So it was a really twist and turn, and just a very conflictual relationship to porn. And it took a lot of work on my part to reclaim my sexuality, really owning my desires, and making peace with men, and making peace with my body, and making peace with what I like and don't like, and what I find hot and turn on and what I don't, and all that confronting stuff to finally get to a place where now, I offer up porn with my boyfriend all the time. I'm like, honey, you want to watch some porn and, just like get you off and, what do you want to do? What kind of flavor are you up to? And I can actually feel really comfortable and consciously watch porn, and my max really is just one porn, and I get off and it's all done and I'm good. I don't need to sit there and watch it over and over. So I don't think I'm addicted to porn, and I don't really need porn to get off, but it's fun to get off from porn. So it's all good for me. So anyway, that's what I want to talk about today. I want to talk about porn. I want to explore, and since I have with me two other men here, I get to also ask some questions about what's it like, the male experience of watching porn, because I think us women, we assume a lot about men, but we don't really know what it's like for men. We have a lot of fears and a lot of insecurity. We compare ourselves to these women, and we're never as good looking, as skinny, as loud, as firm, as hot as these women are. So it's just really kind of like a crazy experience. So today I have with me Zach Schlosser. This topic actually came up because of Zach. He was introduced to me from a colleague, and she said, you really would like Zach. He has a lot of progressive ideas about sex and relationship and all that stuff. So Zach and I started talking, and I asked him, what was the latest thing that he did that he was excited about, and he said he taught a class on porn and integrity and porn and consciousness and porn, and I'm like, whoa, hold on, let's talk about that. So Zach, welcome to the show.
Thanks, May. It's great to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here. I can't wait to hear more about what you see. And then I also have Rafiki. Rafiki, this is Rafiki's porn name. He's not a porn star, but we decided that it'd be fun to say it's his porn name. And Rafiki is a friend on Facebook, and when I posted to say, I want to do a show on porn and consciousness, and he raised his hand and said, I want to be part of it. So welcome.
Thank you. Nice
You're
to be
welcome.
here too.
And today I just found out from Rafiki that he makes handmade vegan flogger. Now, we're going to have to talk about that at the second part of the show, so that you guys have to listen and really find out what the heck is handmade vegan flogger. What does that mean? But anyway, let's talk about porn. So thank you for being here. And why don't you introduce yourself a little bit more, each one of you, and just tell them about, your age, what you do or not, or whatever you want to share with them, so that the audience have a sense of who they're listening to. And also, what is your relationship to this topic? Why do you want to be talking about porn with me today? So, Zach, you want to go first?
Sure, May. Yeah. So, I'm 25, living out in the Bay Area, San Francisco Bay Area, and been here for a couple years. Moved out here after graduating from college at Brown University on the East Coast. And the reason that we're on the call today has stemmed from my own powerful but conflicted relationship to porn. Like you said, I led this 10-week series, this class for men in San Francisco called Watching Porn with Integrity. And I put on the class because I wanted to find a way to do that for myself. I remember the first time I looked at porn, it was in the computer room of my house. And
how old were you?
I started masturbating when I was 13, so 13. And I remember feeling so excited, like I had hit some sort of buried treasure, discovering all these images online. And but there was also this kind of a clenching and I realized later that clenching was sort of fear, shame, and taboo. And there's excitement in the taboo, but there's also tons of shame. And then I really, really got it deeply into meditation practice and studied Buddhism very intensively when I was at college and continue to do so. And from that also there was a way that I absorbed a lot of sexual shame also. I don't think that's necessary, but that's what happened. And so then last year, coming out to the Bay Area and, you know, a lot of progressive thinking out here, I realized that I had to come to a different relationship with porn. I knew, I could tell, I could feel inside myself that there was a lot of confusion, but I could also feel that there was another way that was possible to use it for insight and growth. So as soon as I set that intention, totally interesting and successful. Like, as soon as I set that intention, I realized that with awareness, porn could be a whole different thing. Watching porn could be a whole different thing. And so I decided to lead that class to figure that out for myself and with other men and help other men do the same thing in the process. So
thank you. That's really amazing. I can't wait to dive into that. And
sure.
Rafiki, how about you? Introduce yourself.
Well, Rafiki, if anyone's interested, that's actually my pet name as well as my porn name. I do actually enjoy it a little bit. I guess to explain my porn, I was introduced to porn at 13 as well. I am 38, by the way, so I have been participating in porn for a good long time.
You're a master at porn.
Now, I did not get my first experience with the porn of the internet. That would have definitely been different. My first experience with porn, my father, we lived in the mountains and had a satellite dish. And, like a lot of people's satellite dishes, they had the scrambler station.
Yeah.
And my experience with porn was a station at 13 years old called the Spice Channel.
Uh-huh.
And, it was many times sneaking out when the parents were asleep, tuning the dish in, and watching porn. It was definitely a young boy's experience. And I think I missed out with the whole first introduction to internet being on the porn thing.
Yeah.
You're more private. You don't have to sneak. You don't have the fear of getting caught. Because I remember the fear of when the satellite was turning, it would make it right next to my parents' room going, they're going to wake up, they're going to beat me, you have that. The best way to explain it is the only word I can come up with is the Catholic shame of doing it, because you're told that it's bad, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do these things.
Yeah.
And of course, I ended up selling it in my middle school as I was taping it, which I've been a capitalist of the sex industry for a very long time.
You got really smart about the whole thing.
But, and over the years, I'm watching porn, and I've developed what I like, what I don't like, and have very interesting views on porn at this point.
See, I want to know about that too. That's fascinating to me. It's so interesting that you both had said that you came across porn when you were 13, and I just, in looking at this subject this week, I just learned that, porn is the sex education for our kids now. That's where they get it from. That's where they get the facts from. And, it's not fully fact. We know that. But it's frightening, it's alarming, and it's like, duh, and it's part of the reason why I want to start talking about porn and raising consciousness about it, because we have to come closer to this thing. We can't just ignore it. We can't just wish it goes away, because it's one of the largest industry out there, and it's like $1 billion business every year. So everybody's involved in porn in one way or another. So we just can't not talk about this.
Well, like you said, schools don't teach kids about sex. Their sex education, they call it, I prefer referring to as reproduction education. They don't teach you about sex. They teach you about plumbing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's awful. And then parents, I have an 11-year-old daughter, and her friends, parents, they don't talk about sex. They they do one of four things. It's like, it's inappropriate. How dare you talk about that? Or sex is a beautiful thing. Wait until you're married. Or, they pretend that they go down, talk to your mother. It's so embarrassing. I'm like, really? This is what parents are doing with their kids, So anyway, back to porn. So, let's do some fun stuff first with porn, and then we'll go to some more deeper stuff. Okay? So, like what's your favorite genre of porn?
Well,
that's your favorite.
I'm not really sure. I haven't really ever become a connoisseur of porn because I found a couple large video clip sites, and that was I didn't really hunt too far in because a few minutes in I'd be done.
Yeah.
There were, and not too specific on. I mean, I'm certainly there's types of bodies that I'm more interested in, but definitely vanilla type of sex more often than kink. But recently it's been curious about porn that emphasizes emotional connection realistic emotional connection between the people in it. And when I find it, it's really interesting and makes me feel really vulnerable because I realize that most porn doesn't display this, and it's really intimate to feel like you're looking in on two people who are actually connected.
Interesting. I would love it if you recommend some as you think of it. Go ahead, Rafiki.
The Orgasm Diaries. It's not, I would consider it more soft-core porn, but it's about a photographer and his girlfriend and their exploration of their sexuality, and it's a lot more of the emotional connection between the two of them, and it's not just hey, here's your pizza. Hey, want to see my bedroom? It's not that type of porn. It's actually, them exploring their emotions, the way they are with sex, and then as it goes forward and some mistakes that he makes. But it's a really interesting movie.
Yeah. I'm also surprised you haven't mentioned, the story of O.
Yeah, I just found out about that recently, actually. I haven't watched it yet.
Oh, wow. It's a very old movie, but I think it's the first one, right? It's it's the first of something where they were making a very explicit movie about just a very explicit movie.
I think about BDSM. It was probably the first mainstream movie that was about BDSM.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
The first one that I am aware of was made in 32. It was by the name. It was by. I have a thing for really classic and old porn. And
oh my God, we have a connoisseur on the line.
It's called Olaf Girls. You can actually find it on the Internet Archive, public domain, and it is considered the first time BDSM was put on film.
Huh.
And what's it called again?
Olaf's Girls.
Olaf's Girls. We'll have to look that up.
That's cool.
Oh, anyway, so right now, what is your relationship with porn?
Mine?
Yeah.
I look at porn for more of right now, I guess, because I'm out of my 20s. I'm no longer a teen. Nothing wrong with being in your 20s, Zach. It's
Thanks for being.
As you get older, there's, it takes more than 5-10 minutes. You learn to appreciate things. But I like the arts. I like the art of it, and sometimes the fantasy, sometimes the realism, and sometimes the oddities. You watch it for the fantasy. It's like I said, Olaf's Girls. It's the first time BDSM showed up in film, which is interesting. I try to find, and there's classic porn. They were experimenting with it. They were learning how to film it. and get a better idea of it. Then there's the 70s porn, where they actually tried to do storylines, like the Devil and Mrs. Jones. I think Debbie Does Dallas came out in the late 70s. But one of my favorite ones that came out in the 70s was a Swedish one that got dubbed over here in the United States, and it's called, in the American name, it's Educating the Baroness.
Oh, that sounds intriguing.
Yeah, it's an actual landowner, a baron over in France. He leaves for his mistress, and there's some scenes with his mistress, but he leaves his wife there. The maid lets her brother in and one of his friends who are like thief class, lower class, and they end up taking over the house and treating the Baroness as she's just a lowly servant girl. And it's the reversal of classes as well as the porn. So it's French. Things got to have meaning.
And that sounds like a really lushy fantasy to watch too. There's a lot you can play with that one.
Right, and it's got a lot of good hardcore scenes in it. I do admit I like watching. I like for the comedy porn of it. I love if I want to watch a funny porn, Skinamax. The Skinamax movies, like Sweet Prudence and Erotic Adventures of Bigfoot. I mean, it's cute. It's fun. You can't take it seriously. And those are fun. And then the I guess the best way to describe some of the new ones is it's not gonzo porn, but it's interconnected scenes. Porn of the Dead.
Oh.
It's
I don't like those. Those are awful.
Yeah, I do agree. Porn of the I was severely disappointed with Porn of the Dead. I was hoping they actually did a zombie genre movie with actual pornography. Not.
Yeah. You're so funny. You actually had hope. I'm like, I thought if I seen that title, I would just completely throw it away. I would have no hope for it.
Well, you gotta hope. It's like, okay, this is interesting. This has potential, and then watch it go in. No, it doesn't. It has some interesting scenes if you like the gruesome, but it's just like, but they're 15, 20-minute sex scenes, not the 5 to 8 minute sex scenes that modern porn has. So it's a little more enjoyable, a little more, at least at someone my age, it's not, when I'm taking things in the hand, it's like, it's over already? I'm not done yet. Yeah.
Ah.
That's great. I think it's interesting that you say that about taking longer to finish, because I just read that the average amount of time that any man is watching porn is like 4 minutes, something like 4 to 6 minutes, something like that. And I was shocked. Like that's not as short as I take, but that's because I'm interested in like what's happening internally.
That's how I watch porn. I'm like a 4-minute girl. I'm like, okay, that's good. That triggers some fantasy. Good. Now I'm off and running. Thank you. Then I'm completely bored. I'm done with it. I'm pretty sure I don't have an addiction to porn. I'm just like, done. Let's move on. I got things to do in a day. Yeah.
If you look at mainstream porn, that's how long the scenes generally are. Just enough time to get you off.
Yeah. So Zach, let's talk about what you're looking at. Like the conscious porn, the porn in integrity, and using porn to fill your body. Start us, honey. It's so intriguing.
Yeah. I mean, Rafiki was talking a lot about the porn on the screen types, and just like a lot about it, and that's not my interest. My interest has been just like what's happening inside me when I'm looking at porn, and there's a lot. There's just a ton happening inside me, like little tiny, little subtle things, little like about all kinds of stuff, like, oh man, I don't know, like shame, desire, devotion, like physical pain, like physical flow, like my ideals about who I want to be, and not just sexual ideals, but like all kinds of ideals, you know, be a strong person or be a curious person or whatever. It's just like I find that I often start watching porn either because I'm anxious in that moment and need like a release, or I'm bored, or I'm turned on, and you know, but even in those, I mean, and so I look at porn, so there's like this whole rich inner world that comes up when I'm looking at it, and it's watching porn and masturbating while being aware of what's happening inside my body and inside my emotions and inside my thoughts has become this, like, not like what you were saying about the ejaculation, like not just a physical release, but it actually is like transforming who I am and making me, because my intention is to be like, to come out of it like with more awareness and making choices that make me feel good about myself and make me healthier in general, make me feel good, period. And you know, watching porn is really intense, and lots of stuff comes up inside me, and so when I'm sitting with that in awareness and really feeling my body and really like moment by moment, like, you know, going with what really actually feels good as best as I can understand it, then I am really changing and facing a lot of hard stuff, but really like moving through it and growing. And that was my intention for the, like, can porn be a growth activity? Can it actually stimulate growth in a healthy way?
So so hang on, let me just pull some stuff out here.
Sure.
So I totally can get that when I watch porn, I could be in touch with stuff about me, you know, like my worry about aging, or that I'm not as whatever, or wow, she can squirt, I wonder what it takes to do that, or you know, so those level of awareness I have experienced. And I have to say, when I go there with my head, I'm all in my head. I'm not excited. I am not aroused. So I kind of have to like turn one on or off in order for the other one to work. So if I could just so see, you know, watching porn as an educational thing for myself to let me be aware of where I am in my psyche right now with my emotional, you know, up and down and insecurities and all that. But I just can't do both.
That's really interesting, because and that might be, I mean, it's true for you. It might be true for lots of other people. And I hadn't thought about that. It comes so naturally to me. That's a good point.
And so you can actually watch and notice those things.
Yeah, it doesn't feel separate at all. It doesn't feel separate at all, no. And in fact, you know, talking about like being in the body, I had this really interesting experience today where I was watching porn, and one of the things that's been happening recently for a variety of reasons is that I'm watching porn or thinking about women in general, and like actually like in general, like longing to be them, but specifically longing to be like to have their, what I feel is their sensuality, like their lived experience of sexuality, because it feels so like whole, and or the kinds of women, what I'm projecting, it feels like whole and luscious and like pleasurable but not grasping, and like for so much about oneself and well, in relationship, but like not giving oneself away. And that was happening today while I was watching this woman give this guy a blowjob, and I was like, okay, it became really clear. I was like focused in. It's like, what is it about? Oh no, I was watching a guy like behind a woman, and the camera was right at her face, and she was, you know, like, oh my God, like moaning and, you know, making all these faces. And I was like, okay, what is it about this moment that it's like, this is what I want? And I felt into it, and it was like the feeling of being fucked. Not fucking, the feeling of being fucked. And I was like, okay, what does that feel like? And I actually like relaxed, and I imagined being fucked, and responsibility fell away, and just like pure sensual enjoyment that wasn't about worth or even perform. It was just in that moment, like it didn't mean anything, but it was just beautiful sensuality. And then I actually like dropped way down into my body, like way down into my toes and into my thighs and into my hips. And, it was amazing. It was amazing.
Oh, Zach, it's so amazing. What we project. I mean, I love hearing what you project onto that scene. It's completely different than how I used to project onto that scene, and sometimes I still do on that scene. I see a completely different story. I see this woman faking it, doing it just to please the camera and the men who are watching this thing. I don't see that whole sensuality of really being fucked and allowing that to happen and surrendering all the responsibility and all that. It's I could see it through your eyes as you describe it. It's beautiful through your eyes. And, I'm like, oh, that's a really different angle.
Jet, do you watch more amateur, like where it's actual true life couples, or do you watch the mainstream? It sounds more, from what I'm gathering, you prefer to watch the couples that record, like Red Cloud, Pornhub.
Yeah, exactly. I guess if there is a genre, it's definitely more of the amateur stuff. But yeah, the last couple of years especially.
So the amateur stuff is in like those things that you see on Pornhub that just like a 15-minute clip or 20-minute clip of somebody filming supposedly amateur of themselves. Is that what you're saying? I don't really know the shorthand of porn, so that's why I'm asking. Like you guys seem to understand what you're saying.
The idea is like there's a couple that they want to film themselves, and then they put it up online. Instead of like whatever, like a studio or actors or something like Bang Bus or something, where like guys drive around and pay women to.
Oh, I like those. Those are fun.
Yeah. I mean, those are interesting too. Like,
Hunter.
Yeah, like I was watching one the other day, and there was a woman who is like, from my perspective, genuinely like the whole dynamic between men and women. Like there were these guys, and they obviously wanted her to say yes to going further and further, but in order to do that, they needed to be like sweet with her and make her feel safe.
Yeah.
But then it was working, and she was obviously enjoying it.
Yeah.
So all of that was like coming up for me, and I was feeling into my relationship to all of that while watching that too.
This is so fascinating because I could so see what you're saying, and I could hear all the screaming, cynical female voice in the background going, "That's all set up. It's a script. It's not real." And blah 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 blah. So I don't know. Somehow that noise wants to discount what you're saying, but I think what you're saying is really important, and yet at the same time, there's a part of me just feels really cautious of like, wow, what is real and what's projected, and what really matters here.
Go ahead, Rafiki. Yeah, go ahead.
When you watch porn and you get into that deep intenseness, you don't do that with the mainstream manufactured porn. You don't fall into that same way, do you?
Yeah, I do, yeah.
As deeply, even though they're pandering to the camera, you're able to transcend and see them as real people, not as
it's not even about that. That was interesting when I was noticing what when you were talking, Rafiki, is because like actually I think that watching, and maybe this is true for everyone, but in a conscious way, I feel like watching porn is more about me.
So you really don't care what's on that set. Whatever's there is just a stimulus for your own movie set that's playing out for you.
Yeah, movie set, and And I know that the fantasies, I know that the images in my head are images in my head, and when being in relationship, I know how important it is to be in communication, like really be in communication. But I learn a lot about myself and my own hang-ups and my own, becoming the person I want to be by feeling what comes up when I watch people having sex, staged or not.
Interesting. I'm going to take a short break, and then we'll come back and find out more about this. Fascinating. Thanks, Zach.
Yes.
Is your marriage or relationship in crisis? Where one partner wants to expand into their sex and bring scary changes to the relationship, while the other partner is dug in, protective, and saying, "No way in hell is this going to happen." May knows this place well, and she can help both sides. She is truly amazing. Learn more about her specialty, crisis coaching for couples and individuals, at sexliesandconsciousness.com.
Okay, we're back. Today I'm talking with Zach and Rafiki about porn and conscious porn. And Zach is right in the middle of sharing with us how he watches porn and get really deep into it and have these, transcendental experience with porn and get in touch with the deep lusciousness of a woman, of his desire, of all of his being, whatever that happened to show up in that moment for him. Say more, Zach.
Well, you said transcendent, and I wouldn't have used that word. I guess I can see that in the kind of being very observant of myself. There's definitely a transcendence in that, and that's just my nature. I'm just kind of a heady guy, in no bad way, but just pretty observant. But I would say it's more for me, it's much more about immanence. In general, for the last couple of years, has been a lot about descending into really hard emotions, getting down more into my body, more into really being with people while I'm relating to them, and a lot of that's been stimulated, by my girlfriend. We're no longer together, but who really was asking for a lot of that and really demonstrating in her own being the power and the value of that. And so I was listening to her a lot and really learning from her. But also porn is, that's my relationship with porn too, is feeling everything that comes up and falling into the body more and more, falling into the body and falling into who I want to be. And I find that porn is a tool.
Earlier you used the word devotion.
Yeah, devotion.
Yeah, what does that mean, and how does that fit in here?
Devotion, my friend just came up with a definition of devotion that I'm just going to try to remember and repeat and then see if it fits. So he said it's a recognition of and love for a person's divine nature. And recognition of and love for a person's divine nature. And that definitely happens for me. Especially when I'm feeling the most kind of down on my, I'll go with this because it's true. Down on myself or shame or vulnerability, especially down on myself and shame, those are bad feelings, okay? But vulnerability is sort of neutral. But if I stay with the bad feelings, they often just turn into vulnerability. Like when I was watching that woman getting fucked from behind, and I was longing to be like her or even to be her, there was this feeling my sexuality is not good enough. But if I sit with that, then there's just a vulnerability, a recognition of the beauty in front of me. And if I let that keep flowing and I open and just allow myself to be who I am and that sort of thing, then that recognition blossoms into just unbelievable heartfulness, so much heartfulness. and and that helps me be just more intimate and more honest and feel more love in general and for more people.
Wow, Zach, you're on a totally on a different planet about porn. I love it. I mean, go ahead, Rafi.
Yeah, I've never been a man who gets that deep into his porn. I mean, I got deep into porn. You take what you way like lightning fast. I know.
I love it. I'm like, honey, there is no controversy if we see porn this way. I mean, like, what I'm getting from what you're saying, Zach, is that we see ourselves in everything. So if we see porn, like, from what I'm seeing, it's like you see porn and you get to this level of beauty and devotion and recognizing a person's divine nature. Most of us see porn and we see shame, we see rejection, we see women being coerced into doing things that they don't want to. I mean, there's something really important here. Maybe you really know what you're talking about. You know, maybe that is a reflection of where we are in our relationship on this planet. You know, how empowered we feel, how much do we feel. I'm talking as a woman right now, but you know, like if I see shame and a woman being coerced to doing things that she doesn't really like, she doesn't enjoy it, and blah blah blah. That's all I see. It's somehow there is a reflection there for me to look at where I am with my own relationship in life. You know, I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what it's pointing.
Maybe there's something I really want to say though at this point, which is that like I don't like this is my relationship to porn, and I'm aware that other people will have different perspectives and relationships to porn, and I really wouldn't want anyone. My goal is not for people to have my relationship to porn as beautiful or as attractive as it may seem to some people. I want people to have their authentic relationship to porn.
Well, that's what I'm getting. Actually, that is what I'm getting as I'm listening to you. It's like, wow, you know, I could see as you're explaining, I see your train of thoughts. I see what you're going through. I see, and I'm like, wow. And then somehow I mirror that back to me, where how I see it, and I'm just kind of like, wow, there is something of a relationship here. I remember when I was really restricted and feeling powerless about my own sexuality, so I saw porn as disgusting, dirty, and, you know, restrictive, and women were being abused and taken care of, because that was my relationship to sex. I had a really negative opinion. And then as I heal all that, and now where I am is, you know, porn, I mean, sex is fun, let's have more, you know, it's all good, let's adventure. And so then porn become really fun and adventure, and I like those things, you know, out in the park or in public and all that stuff, because it feels free to me. So
but I mean, even like the ways in which maybe, well, okay, so let's say that a woman listening feels like porn is degrading or something, you know?
Yeah.
If she feels into that relationship to porn and she feels, you know, this is my authentic, honest relationship to porn, is like, I feel like it's harmful.
Yeah.
Well, that's great. From my perspective, like, that's great. That's not a problem. That's not less than something else. That's healthy and serving her and serving other people too. It's like porn is complex and multifaceted. It's not just, you know, what I'm describing.
Well, I think where it would be helpful too, though, is if she goes a level deeper, looking at, wow, this is what I see in porn, I wonder what my relationship to my sexuality is like. Just ask that question and see what happens. You know, and see what happens over 3 months or 10 months or whatever. You know, but I really want to make this point, because I think this is kind of, you know, we're talking. My entrance into porn has been through spirituality, and it's like, and I see this, what I'm about to say in spirituality too. It's like, I don't want to put the impetus on the woman or the man watching porn to say, if I'm feeling something bad, I'm doing something wrong, or it's my fault, and I need to
look closer at myself until I feel some different way. Because that's an easy tendency. And I don't think that's helpful. But I think it's helpful as like, yeah, for some people, there's lots of like, repressed emotions. We'll just say that, nothing wrong with that either. That was the safety mechanism. But, and then maybe over time it flowers into something beautiful, but maybe over time it flowers into like, no, this really doesn't feel good, And that, I think, is the goal, to feel honest, not to feel like somebody else, whatever that feels like.
Right, what you should be.
Yeah.
Let's make some room for Rafiki in here.
Yeah, I've been enjoying listening to what he says. I mean, it's a unique perspective on porn. It really is, and it's fabulous to hear it.
What are you getting from his perspective?
Well, like I said, most men, I would say, okay, I'm probably over, but 99% of the men out there watch porn to get off.
Yeah.
They're the people that watch it, like myself, for the art of it, the direction, and just the craft of it. And then there's, Zach, which is a whole spiritual thing. He gets a spiritual, okay, I get spiritual about sex. Sex really is my form of worship when it comes down to it. But I don't view porn as along those lines. I look at porn as something less than, and I just get into it as much as I do with sex, and I don't see the spiritual thing. I think now I'm gonna, the next couple of weeks watch it and go, try to look at it deeper than I normally do. But I mean, it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You said a very interesting point, and I feel a lot of trueness to it, which is we somehow porn ranks a level or two lower than sex. Like we could revere sex, we worship sex, we could have a really healthy relationship with sex. There's a level of disdainment or whatever the word is, a level of looking down on porn and think of it as cheap, dirty, and disgusting. And I'm kind of curious on why that exists, What was that?
I like I said, I guess it's really depending on what porn you're looking at, but no, I mean, I view sex as I view porn as a couple steps down from sex, mainly because I would really prefer to be having sex. Other people, have sex. Or having sex, I wouldn't mind watching it while I'm with my partner and other partners in the room. I mean, that's great porn. Live action porn is fantastic porn. But, there's a longing going watching porn. It's like, boy, it'd be nice if my partner was awake.
Mm-hmm.
There's that. But the whole, I think the disdain for porn comes from, I guess I think a lot of people, at least in the United States, have a very puritanical view on sex.
Yeah.
And so it's, in the bedroom only, not talked about, not discussed. Mm-hmm. And that's real sex. And then you take a step back and you do I'm talking mainstream porn here. This is simulated sex. This is fake sex. This is put on for a show. It's not real, so it's that much less, and it's exploitation. It's not degrading. It's exploitation of sex for a profit, and it's not sex for the reasons for sex. And I think that's why a lot of people see it as demeaning, dirty, and it's.
Yeah, I get what you're saying there, and I really have to say that and we're so weird about this whole thing. I mean, we could have a big fat billboard with Calvin Klein and this guy sitting there in his underwear with semi-hard on, and we think that's art and beauty, and we slap that in everybody's face, and yet, this we get all hoop-de-doo about it. It's just kind of nutty. And we use sex to sell stuff, to sell Coca-Cola, sell banking, sell insurance. Like we use sex to sell everything, and yet that's acceptable. So anyway, it's just so weird.
We hint at sex when we sell that. but it's not blatant. Here's the genitals. Here's the penetration. It's not blatant. It's a hint of it. It's not. Yeah, and that's why there's a level of acceptance. Yes, women walking around with a bikini selling deodorant. Okay, fine. Has nothing to do with deodorant, but it's going to sell because it gets your attention because it hints at it. If they're walking around naked using deodorant on each other, that would be too far.
Yeah. So let's we only have about 10 minutes left. I want to just grab a couple of things from the woman's perspective, because I know a lot of women feels really threatened when their partner watches porn, or when they discover that the first time they discover their partner watched porn, it's like some fallen down from grace or something. Can you guys speak to that?
Well, I have frank and open discussions with my partner about porn, and she's not like that, but we've discussed that, and it makes we think it makes when that happens is women makes them feel inadequate about themselves if a man has to go and watch porn to get off because they're not getting to them. It's why am I not doing this for you? Why do you have to do this? And,
so could you answer that question for us? Why do you have to do this?
Okay, from a guy's standpoint, variety. I'm a poly, I'm open, and a swinger. So I mean, it's not a major issue. But for a lot of guys, you are with this woman. You're basically a lot of men. It's the same sexual positions all the time. It's the same sex. It falls into routine. Porn gives the fantasy of variety, something different, new faces. Or you're not yourself. You can put yourself into being the male, the stud. You can feel bigger. You can feel larger. You can. The way it's shot is it's a lot of times it's shot. You're not seeing the guy a lot, and you can envision yourself being the man, and it helps your ego. Men's egos are very fragile, and their self-esteem is very low. And if they can at least fantasize with it, it makes them feel better. There's a lot of emotional support in that, and even that's just they're not cheating. It's that they need something they're not getting, and even if it's just variety, or it's I need to see this because I need to be reminded why I love you, kind of thing. It's that I'm not really wordy. I'm sorry, but it's.
I love it. This is really a tender conversation, actually, because, I think on the woman's side, we're making up stories like, you're watching this because I'm not good enough, I'm not enough for you, there's something wrong with me, and so we make it about ourselves. And what I'm hearing you say is it's all about you, which is all about you feeling good about yourself, fantasizing, thinking bigger, feeling stronger, more macho, more powerful, more potent, all that good stuff. So it's like we're having two totally separate conversations, making up stories.
Women have their own porn, though, too. It's women aren't visual when it comes to porn. Look at 50 Shades of Grey. Besides my own personal opinions about 50 Shades of Grey, it wasn't men that made this book a bestseller. It was women and literotica. I think last statistic I saw, 80-some-odd, like 89, 87% of literotica users are women. Mm-hmm. Women have porn. Women don't watch porn. Women read porn, and they don't find that as, I don't know if they don't find that as offensive as it. They don't feel the same way, but it's women have their own porn and men have their own porn. And I think a lot of it is how that men are more visual and women are more intellectual. But we both have porn. It's different.
Yeah. What were you going to say, Zach?
Oh, just it's hard for me to generalize like that situation and how to deal with that situation and what women or men are feeling in that situation. But it just strikes me as an opportunity to communicate, really. just speak like what one needs and what the other one needs too, and try to. And it's I don't know. I always honesty is like my bedrock. Honesty, I feel like really is helpful. And I don't mean brutal honesty. I mean really caring, but honest honesty.
Yeah.
For all parties involved.
I mean, Maya, as your main job and with your clients and stuff, would you say communication is one of the major issues between the couple?
Totally. And communication is the thing on top. It's like the top of the iceberg, communication, that really underneath it's fear and honesty, like a real willingness to be honest with each other. That is so rare. I mean, everyone profess, that they are honest, and everyone profess that, they expect honesty back and blah, blah, blah. But really, are we really honest with ourselves and what we really want and what we desire? And then can we communicate that, and then can we trust the other person to stick around and really will find a ways to meet us, that all those stuff just gets in there. Anyway, one last question. This one is a big question, and it hangs out there for me. It's like a lot of people, I hear this objection, like when you watch porn, it impacts how you see women afterward. So what's your relationship to that question? When you watch porn, what do you think about women?
Zach, do you want to go with it first? Or?
Sure. I mean, my first response is yes. Like, that's true. And
what does it make you think about when you look at a woman then? Yeah.
Right. So that's the thing, is that it's going to be different for different men, and the way you use porn it's variable. So it's not like porn like necessarily does this to me or does this to everyone. It's like porn and me are fluid, and my relationship with porn can change, and so the way that I see women can change. I mean, for me, I don't want to see women. I don't want to dehumanize and depersonalize them, because it's actually a less enjoyable way to live for me. So when I see that happening, then it's, I try to, I don't want to, I just sort of like, I don't know what I do, but I just notice that it's painful. But it's interesting, though, when I think about watching porn, because I haven't really. It's a non like question. There's no actual other woman sitting in front of me asking something of me, so I don't have to be concerned about her, really. So I haven't really thought about how I'm viewing. I mean, I did a little bit last summer when I was doing the course, because I wanted to bring in that kind of objectification of women discussion, but I don't really think about that. I'm sorry,
I have to interrupt you. I asked such a big question, and I only had 2 minutes left, so I wanted to have some time for you to just talk. Like if people want to find you, Zach, where should they go? And then Rafiki, you still owe them about the whole vegan flogger, and we got to do it in 1 minute and 38 seconds. Go.
Okay. You can find me at adeeplife.com. adeeplife.com.
Okay, great. And Rafiki?
You can find me at FetLife as Rafiki, RAFIKKI, and my floggers are available on www.hmstoys.com. Like I said, they're natural fiber floggers. Right now, all we have in stock are cotton with the horsehair one. That's why we're vegan-ish, and they're all handmade, and they held up pretty well. We go from light and fluffy to Scourger level floggers, and feel free to mail me. I'm more than happy. I'll have frank discussions about porn, because it's one of my favorite subjects.
Well, and I love this whole idea of creating a flogger and not use leather. That's what the vegan thing is, right? You're not using an animal product. You're using a natural fiber or something else.
Natural fiber. I actually make one. I call it sound beating. It's kind of a play on words because it's made out of speaker wires.
Oh, wow. Okay. Woo, yeah. I don't know why, but when we talk about flogger, I get all just like lit up. Anyway, thank you so much for being here on this show and for talking about porn with me. It was a lovely conversation. And Zach, thank you so much for opening, I think, both of our eyes around porn and consciousness.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, May. Thank you, Rafiki. That was great.
Bye.
Bye.